This has to be one of the worst trends I've ever seen on TikTok. When you have influencers that flock to a trend and there's this thing that's just trending, it gets overhyped, is even overpriced, and they still jump in on the trend just for the sake of clout. Moving forward, any trend that comes from TikTok can only impress me. We need to talk about a situation where we have these fans of Crumble cookies that traveled overseas to buy these Crumble cookies, bring them back to Australia, and sell stale cookies to TikTok influencers. Now, they are going through some backlash and maybe some legal trouble, I can't say, or I'm going to say everything here moving forward is going to be alleged. So I'm going to read this article for you. Let's get right into it because this shit is absolutely insane. TikTok influencers who lined up for over an hour to buy cookies from cult American firm Crumble at the pop-up store in Sydney at the weekend were shocked by more than the $17.50 per biscuit price. The popular Crumble cookies were stale, days-old imports being sold by fans who had brought them back from overseas rather than a fresh-baked product intended to woo the Australian market. The pop-up store in North Bundy was marketed as exclusive on social media account called Crumble Sydney, but the account was fan-run. The sale was not endorsed by the US-based Crumble Cookies brands, and the biscuits flown in from Hawaii were sold for a whopping $75 for 5 cookies. A pack of 4 cost just $21 or Australian dollars in the United States. So basically you have these fans that love Crumble cookie and they kind of saw like an opportunity to introduce it to the Australian market. So these fans then flew over to Hawaii. They bought hundreds of cookies from a company known as Crumble. They're kind of like Insomnia Cookies, Chip City, if you're familiar with those cookie brands, whatever. They took those cookies, then flew back into Australia. They made like an account like on Instagram. It's been deleted, so I can't really go in there. And on TikTok saying like, hey, we're selling these cookies. These are Crumble cookies. We're going to be at this place at this time and we're going to sell it. And, you know, their prices are ridiculous because in America or here, they sell the cookies for $5. A Crumble cookie is $5. They took the cookies, bought them, sent it overseas, and they're selling them for $17.50. Whereas you just saw on the article I just read, you can get 4 for 21 Australian dollars. They're selling you 5 for 75 Australian dollars, which is absolutely criminal.
The viral American cookie has come to Australia. I've seen this on my For You page so much, and I'm finally trying it. It was $17 for 1 cookie. I could have bought a whole chicken meal for something like that. This was like a scam. This is actually very bad. It's so sweet. The texture's just weird. It's so sugary. I feel like I'm just eating sugar. Even Butterboy is better than this. There's so many other places better. Crumble, all you celebrities you eat online, biggest scam. Never again.
You can also look here in the pricing. They have this they have this little board here where they list the pricing, and if you look closely, it says a single cookie is $17.50. A 5-pack or one of each flavor, I guess is what they're implying, is $75 each. You save $12.50. And then there's the Crumble cookie cutter for $15 each. And you can see they put this like in writing right next to the pricing. It says damaged cookies, 3 for the price of 1, which is really crazy for a damaged cookie. So that means a damaged cookie that was imported from Hawaii is $6-7, give or take. It's like between $6 and $7 for a damaged cookie. You can get a freshly baked cookie in the United States for cheaper. You're paying more for damaged goods than you would if you was to just go to America and just buy the cookie yourself. God, it's making my blood boil here because the whole thing is so stupid. This trend is so stupid. Why are we doing reviews for stale cookies? Why are we doing a review for cookies that aren't even freshly baked? And then the guy was talking about how like, oh, the celebrities are eating this these online celebrities. It's a scam, bro. You just did a review on days old cookies. These celebrities, they're eating these cookies and they're freshly made. Like, your opinion is not of value compared to the celebrity that ate that same cookie. Like, I don't like, there is so much smooth brain mentality here. It is insane. It's mind-boggling. Now, if I'm gonna be a little bit, lenient on the TikTok influence here, I'm just gonna say that they probably made these reviews because they probably genuinely believed that the cookies that they bought were actually freshly baked. So they really went out of their way to spend this kind of money to not only to try out the cookies, but to also make content, because this is content that they're making at the end of the day. And of course, their livelihoods probably are heavily based on the TikTok platform. So of course, they're going to spend $20 if it means it's suddenly appearing in Australia, and this is probably a one-time opportunity to buy the cookies and try it out and give your opinion or review for your audience. They never knew, at least at the time when they tried it, that these cookies were days old and they're doing a review for leftover goods. We never claimed to be an official Crumble store. It was clearly stated in the bio and our comments. Our goal is to bring the authentic Crumble cookies to Australia by importing the cookies directly from the United States, they said. We traveled to the United States to purchase the cookies and imported them with their original packaging. We did not bake them ourselves. When responding to accusations the cookies were stale, organizers said, the Crumble cookies should be kept at room temperature in an airtight container for up to 3 days and refrigerated for up to 7 days. We kept them in these requirements. Some were worn to enhance their texture, which is what Crumble does as well. The group then hit back at dozens of customers who slammed the pop-up. While most customers enjoyed the cookies, a couple of influencers felt they didn't meet expectations, they said. We apologize that the cookies don't live up to expectations. However, they are just cookies at the end of the day. Bull fucking shit. And let me tell you why that's bullshit that you said they're just cookies at the end of the day. There is no way that you booked flights and traveled 1 calendar day back in time to buy 700 cookies and then pay thousands of dollars for cookies, thousands of dollars in flights and hotel expenses and packaging or whatever, and you shove these cookies inside of, like, allegedly a suitcase of sort. Fast travel a day into time back to Australia, sell these cookies, sell them for maybe 3 times, 2 times its value, and then when people complain about the cookies being stale, it tastes old, it's not even baked fresh, you go out of your way to say they're just cookies at the end of the day. Then why did you spend so much money just buying cookies and then claiming that you didn't make any profit? Like, was it that deep that you had to buy cookies from the United States and bring it to Australia? Like the math ain't math in here, y'all. Like, what is wrong with you? Organizers have said they have ticked all the legal boxes for the event and made very little profit from the pop-up. This event was never about profit, they said. We aim to bring the cookies to Crumble fans. Importing and reselling is called parallel imports. Parallel imports are legal. We followed all legal procedures, declaring the cookies as commercial goods and obtaining the necessary approvals from Australian customs. We hope this clears up any confusion. Thank you to those who supported us and gave us valuable feedback. There's no feedback. There's no feedback at all. You are selling stale cookies. I refuse to give leftover food feedback. That's really it. That's all I'm gonna say. Giving feedback on leftover goods is wild. You will never catch me giving feedback on leftover food. The organizers of the pop-up have released a statement addressing the drama that has unfolded since Sunday. We never claimed to be an official Crumble store, they wrote. This was clearly stated in the bio in our comments, yada yada yada. So they claim to have spent more than $6,000 alone on roughly 700 cookies before reselling them to Aussie consumers in Sydney. They also spent $4,000 on flights, $2,000 in duties, taxes, and custom brokering, and more than $1,000 in staffing, additional costs for the pop-up store. They added that they complied with rules about the food importation and reselling and kept the cookies in airtight containers to preserve their freshness. If we're gonna do the math here, they spent $6,000. We're gonna look at this at face value, so take this math with a grain of salt. You spent $6,000 on 700 cookies. So you resold them for $17.50 in Australian currency, whatever. $17.50 times 700 cookies, that's roughly $12,000, give or take. So basically you doubled your money. But then later on, you have to pay, of course, for hotel expenses and flight expenses. So you spent $6,000, then you spent $4,000, which is $10,000. Then you spent $2,000 on duties and everything and taxes, which is already $12,000. And then you spent an additional $1,000 on staffing, and then you spent additional money for the pop-up store. So they said they made little profit. So again, take this math with a grain of salt here. It looks like as if they lost money more than anything else. One of the co-founders of Crumble by the name of Sawyer Hughesley had to make a comment about it. Well, less of a comment and more of a response to the whole situation, and it was rather neutral. He did comment on one of like the content creators on TikTok who also did a quote-unquote review on the crumble cookies in Australia. He goes on to say, you need to try them fresh in the United States. P.S. This pop-up is not affiliated with Crumble Cookies. That's a rather neutral response to the whole situation. He's not saying, hey, we're investigating the whole situation. He's not saying, oh, you know, I mean, hey, that's awesome. They're spreading the love of, you know, Crumble Cookies. That's actually pretty cool. All he said is, hey, listen, you should come over to the United States to try them. If you really love Crumble Cookie or you want to try them out, you should really try them freshly baked in the United States. And by the way, they're not affiliated with us. That's all I'm going to say. And who knows, maybe the legal team behind the Crumble company is looking into this, but he's just not saying anything just for legal purposes. It's just so fucking cringe just to see people lining up for hours just for $17 cookies, only to taste it and say, "Oh, this tastes stale." I don't know, y'all. I don't think Crumble cookies are it. I think it's overhyped. Don't get these cookies, guys. You just ate stale old cookies. Why the fuck should I hold your opinion to heart? Anybody in Australia eating Crumble cookies is not having a honest review. It's not. To even call it honest or genuine or an authentic review of Crumble cookies, it's so cringe. It really is. That's really all I have. I just get more upset the more I read into this. So I'm just gonna cut the video here, and until then, that's about it. Peace, y'all.